Do you want a weekly dose of energy and marketing tips to grow your business? Then you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Lisa Pizik Show, a podcast that empowers entrepreneurs to heal and be heard, the permission to pivot, and the tools to design a life you love.
All right.
Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Lisa Pizik Show. So excited to have a fellow dame. If you don't know what the dames are, we are women making 6 and 7 figures, but it's not just about the income. It's about the massive impact and the ripple that we're having by putting our goodness out into the world and fully stepping into who we are as women and how we serve the community and fully just living into why we were put on this planet. That is why today I have my friend Elvira Hopper here with me today, because we met through the dames. We met through a mutual friend. And the second I met you, Elvira, I just felt like we had known each other forever. I felt like, our souls had already connected. And I thought, wow, this woman is such a positive light in the world. And that's what we need right now as this post-COVID. I mean, I know we're still kind of in COVID and everyone's sick of talking about COVID. And it's like, can we get over this, please? And everyone's in this blah state. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say everyone, but you might be in a high vibe state and then you come across someone who's, having a day, as we all do. We're not always rainbows and sunshines. It's ebb and flow. And how do we create boundaries? How do we not let other people's icky energy, whether it's in our business or a conversation at home or as a performer, when you're putting yourself out there creatively, how do you not let your ego get in the way is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So Elvira, welcome to my podcast.
Oh my gosh, Lisa, it's so great to be here. I've been getting chills as you've been speaking. We were chatting a little bit backstage and as we say in the biz and, I'm just getting chills because we're so in freaking alignment. I feel, we definitely spent some time in a past life, if you believe in that sort of thing. But it's amazing. The journey that we're both on and it's so similar, we're both these, kick-ass business women. We're also performers, artists, and we're kind, heart-centered people. My God, you were telling me about adopting your beautiful little Pearl and I'm just bawling and I'm like, oh my God, I got makeup on. I've got to be on camera now. But it's just, And how do we not, let the low vibes get to us, through people, through COVID, how do we, basically, I'm going to use my language, love our vibe, where we literally stay in alignment with who we truly are and what we're here to do. Because I truly believe that when we live in alignment with who we truly are and what we're meant to do, we're not living with ego masks that are trying to protect us. And meanwhile, they're messing us up, but we're living our authentic selves, right? And when we live in that space, people don't get to us. I have incredible boundaries today that I never used to have when I lived out of alignment at this, as this pharmaceutical rep rock star back in my previous life. And today I have amazing boundaries so that nobody gets to me. This is how I became a professional jazz singer at 51. When I let go of what anybody thought and I just did what was inside my heart.
Oh,
God hearts.
I love that.
That's what allowed me to go professional. And now I'm on world-class jazz stages, recorded my first album there, performed for, dignitaries like the mayor of my city, Mississauga, last year performed for her 60th private birthday party, got to perform for Oprah Winfrey's man, Stedman Graham, who, asked me to sing out of the blue, right? But this is what I talk about. When we live in alignment with who we truly are, Lisa, we become miracle magnets. We attract all the good stuff to us. So if shitty stuff is happening in our life and we're crap magnets, okay, we've got to look at our alignment. We've got to ask ourselves some deep questions. Is this who I truly am? Am I showing up as my authentic self? Or am I trying to be something to please others, to please my parents, to please society, to please my spouse, to please my friends, to please a networking group that I'm a part of? Like there's all these things that we do to fit into other people's boxes. Yeah. Well, get out of the fucking boxes, become who you truly are, and miracles will happen every day. I swear to God, I'm not lying. I lived as a crap magnet. My ego ran the show for most of my life. And when I had to have a breakdown at the end of my corporate life, my last 2 years were total mental health hell, depression, anxiety, panic disorder, at my lowest, suicidal ideation. I kid you not. But it was the biggest blessing because it got me out of that inauthentic life where I was making 6 figures and I looked all that in a bag of chips. And yet I was dying on the inside. My soul was shriveling. I was not living my true purpose. My true purpose is I'm like you. We're performers. We're entertainers. We're here to make the world better by telling our stories in our own way and singing our stories in our own way. And oh my God, you're so freaking awesome. You made me cry. Your reading was just incredible. And it touched my heart because you're a sister that I see. I truly see you, Lisa. You are putting yourself out there vulnerably. You're putting yourself there from your heart, and you are changing lives by telling your story. Like that story, I want every one of my clients to hear that story. It is a powerful freaking story. And I'm going to be in the front row on Broadway when you perform it on Broadway. So anyway.
Thank you. So I want to go back. I love everything that you just opened up with. And just to give people a little bit of context of some of the things that Elvira was talking about, she left behind a 20-year, 6-figure award-winning big pharma career to live her best life now. And she is, a pro jazz artist of 51, as she said, and she just loves and chooses joy in her zone of genius and believes we could create that heaven on earth if we all lived aligned, authentic, and fully expressed. And I love the question that you said when you were kind of at the lowest of your low, or just when, things were hitting you, you said, is this who I truly am? And I love that as a guiding question because, I think we've heard about, or maybe if you haven't heard, we know in psychology, there's that moment where we have the pause before we react. And I think other people have taught, you have that moment, you can take a breath, you can take a pause before you react. But a lot of times people don't know what to do in that. Like we want to do something in that moment. The doers of us in the world don't just want to pause. Like we're like, give me something to do. And I'm thinking that that's what came up for me when you said, you pause in that moment and then you go, wait, is this truly who I am? And I know Brenda Burchard, a mentor that I studied under, always ask the question, pause and then say, how would my highest self react? How would my highest self respond? What would my highest self do? Because there are times when we want to be like, oh my God, this person said they didn't like me. It doesn't like me. I should go and change all on this, or I should, or our highest self is like, I'm going to set a boundary. Or someone says something to us and we want to go, you're a big fat jerk and blah, blah, blah. But your highest self goes, wow, that's actually your stuff, not my stuff. God bless you. I hope you resolve that. I wish you well. Right? So I love that it's like when we're freaking out or we're triggered or we're angry or we're emotional or we're sad or we're whatever we are, not saying that we can't have those emotions because all emotions have meaning, but we ask, is this who I truly am? And I love talking about when we can pause and really assess that. I would imagine that would change your vibe to a more loving miracle magnet kind of person. And you have an incredible story about, so being a jazz singer and, stepping into, I saw you with your buddy, he's playing the guitar and you were singing, on Facebook. And I was like, yes, right. Tell us about, was that always your plan? And how did that come about to be a pro jazz singer?
Well, that's a great question, Lisa. And everything you just said there, gold. So can I talk about when I was a little girl? Can we go
Sure.
back? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I was 11 years old, I ended up in this cabaret show. My dad worked in the restaurant downstairs and I was in this cabaret show. I was the only kid in the audience, 11 years old. I was this rotund little Italian kid because we came to Canada when I was 5 and I was normal size. But my parents weren't very happy when we came to Canada. There was a lot of struggles in a new country. And so I, being the sensitive, artistic child that I was, I ate my emotions. So here I am. I'm this rotund little, it does matter. I'm this rotund little kid in the audience and I'm watching these goddesses on stage at this cabaret show, and they're singing and they're dancing and they're beautiful. They got gorgeous clothes, gorgeous hair, makeup. And I'm the only kid. God knows why I was in the audience. Did I insist on going because my dad worked at the place and I knew that the show was going on and said, Daddy, take me? Because I love singing and dancing since I came out of the womb, my mom said. And yeah, my happiest moments are when I was entertaining people. I'll never forget that. That's another really precious moment I can talk about if you want, or save it for another time. But, or was my daddy babysitting me and he stuck me somewhere because he had to work that night. So I don't know which one it was, but I was in the audience and I'm watching these women and they're singing and dancing and acting and they're just so gorgeous. And afterwards, my dad said, "Do you want to meet them?" And I said, "I can meet them." And he goes, yeah, they work upstairs. I know them, you know? And I said, "Yeah, Daddy, sure." So he brings me backstage and he says, "Ladies, this is my daughter, Elvira." And they're looking at me, these beautiful women. And they're like, "Joe, this is your daughter? Oh, she's so beautiful." So remember, Lisa, I'm a fat little Italian kid. Okay. And these women, they saw me.
They saw you. Yes.
I felt seen for the first time in my life. These were my people. They were my tribe. They knew that I was them just a few years behind.
Yes.
So what happens is I walk away with my dad and I look at him, my father, who could sing like Pavarotti, but never did anything with his voice, because the message he got was from his family was good men are not on stages singing. Good men are good husbands, fathers, and providers. So my father, we walked away, I looked at him and I said, "Daddy, I want to be one of them when I grow up." Oh, sorry, I should mention this too, because I want you to know there's a little bit of this in my family. His sister was a world-class opera singer. She traveled around the world and sang opera until she got married, Lisa. Then she had to hang up her opera gown, put on an apron. She wasn't allowed to sing again. So both of them, they died with their real music still in them. Okay. So my dad died 10 years ago. I think my aunt died 50 before that. They both died with cancer, mental health struggles, on meds, and with, you know, like their lives were in shambles. My dad's marriage was in shambles. So anyway, a little bit of history there before I tell you what I told my dad. Okay. So I wanted you to get the full scope of it. So then when my dad and I walk away, I have stars in my eyes. I fell in love with these women. I knew I was one of them. And at 11 years old, I knew what I wanted to do. And I looked at my father and I said, "Daddy, I want to be one of them when I grow up." And my dad just looked at me and he said, "Elvira, you can't be one of them because those women are sluts." And then I was shut down. And that is when the ego had to come out to protect me. And I became the people pleaser, the good little Italian girl, the imposter, the one that wanted to be loved by her parents. So what did I do? I got good marks at school. I got a good career in lab technology. Yeah. They wanted me to be a doctor. I didn't have the marks to be a doctor. So it was either lab technologist or nurse. So no disrespect to you, Lisa, but I didn't want to clean up people's bedpans. So I said, okay, lab technologist it is. So I somehow got aligned. Aligned. Yeah. And I got out to be a lab tech. Somehow I survived those teachings. Wanted to slit my wrists after 7 years of that. I was so not living in alignment. I got bullied by my boss, by my coworkers. I struggled with mental health. The one good year I had, Lisa, was when I got to dance for the Argos. I was on the field with the Argos for 1 year. That was my one good year where I wasn't struggling with depression and anxiety and all of that. But I still had some eating disorders because there was a lot of pressure to look a certain way when you were an Argo cheerleader. They weighed you every week. So there was some shit show going on
Oh.
there for a lot of us, not just me, but yeah. Oh yeah. And one of my dear friends got kicked off the squad because she had bulimia and she couldn't keep her weight at a certain, very,
Wow.
that kind of stuff happens.
I
Go
want
ahead.
to stop you for 1 second
Yeah.
because of something awesome that you said. You said those.
I hope it's
those,
all awesome.
It's all.
Sorry,
It
go
is.
ahead.
No, it is. No.
I'm
Yeah.
kidding,
Okay,
I'm
I take that
kidding.
back. Yes, it was all. It's all amazing. The
I'm
one thing
kidding.
before I forget that I want to talk about is
Yes.
when you said those women that were singing the cabaret that they saw you. And you're like, I was this fat, chubby, little meatball, this little Italian meatball, right? I was, and I can say that out of love because I was a chubby little meatball too, right? And, but they saw you, meaning they saw what was inside.
Yes, they saw my soul.
So many times, you know. And where you're talking about this with the cheerleaders and the bulimia and, again, your story, I struggled with all of that, as you heard in, my table reading and my show. We place so much emphasis on the exterior and we worry so much about
when we live out of alignment.
When we live out of alignment.
Yes,
yes,
we do.
thank you. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. When we're out of alignment, we worry so much. And that's a way that you're out of alignment when you're worried about what people are going to say about your hair and your clothing and your teeth and your eyes and your weight and your size and your truly seeing someone is the inside. Is seeing their soul is, and I remember even when I was learning how to sing with Drew, with my, singing coach, he said, I was so worried about being off key. And he's like, first of all, you're completely on key. And then he's like, second of all, he said, if you're singing with heart and emotion and you're tapping into the feeling of the song, you can get away with it. The audience will forgive you if you're here or there a little bit off key because you're letting the emotion move you. Yes. And I'm just thinking that's what's coming to me as creatives and coaches and consultants and business owners and everyone who's listening to this. Yeah. Fully being seen and seeing someone and stepping into your art and your creative side and your juices and your goodness. Is all the inside of who you are, not the amount of money you make, not the things that you have, not the degree certifications that you get, truly being seen is an inside job. And I just love that I had to go back and talk about that because I don't think maybe we always make that connection. Like when someone says, like you said that to me, you said, I see you. Yes. And I knew what you meant. You meant I see your love, your heart, your joy, and
your artistry. You're like me. We're artists. Yeah.
And I see you. That's what I mean. I saw you from the second I first spoke with you. And what a gift that is to truly see people and allow yourself to be seen. So how do we get there? Like for the people that are worried about what they're letting their ego drive them. They're worried about what people are going to say about them, or they don't think they're good enough. They don't think they have gifts. They followed someone else's dream to be the good girl or the good guy. How do we get out of that?
Oh my God. I just want to cry thinking about it. Cause it's not easy. It's not easy. But you can work with people that can make it easier. Like if I had coaches back then, I could have easily not struggled, but I was meant to struggle as much as I did because I was meant to have a mental breakdown at the end of so I got, I did medical technology, wanted to slit my wrists after that. Tony Robbins helped me to get out of the darkness and somehow feeling better so that I could then start my next career, which was diagnostic sales and then pharmaceutical sales. So I did that for 20 years. It was better than working in the lab, but still I was living out of alignment. And I did this thing called landmark education, and that had helped me sort of, do some of the ego work, the shadow work and all of that. And yet my last 2 years of corporate, I was being bullied corporately, because that's what happens when we live out of alignment. We are bullied. We have these targets on our back, right? Oh yeah. Hit me, right? You didn't have the strength to go up against your narcissistic mother when you were little, right? But you got your power now to do it, right? But back then you were bullied by her, right? Because this is what happens, right? And I was essentially bullied by my parents too, to be a certain way. You need to stay in this box, right? So when I was bullied, in the lab technology world. And then my last 2 years, I like to say 18 was happy. My last two were total shit show. But the truth is I was never really happy because I was living out of alignment. And I drove the company card and I made six figures and I won the trips. And, I had the nice clothes and I overworked out, like I had to look good. I was terrified of looking bad because then I wouldn't have a job. Like there was so much ego pressure in this life. Right. And thank God that my last 2 years, I got the gift of being bullied corporately. Because I had a kick me sign on my back, I attracted another bully socially within this former group of Argo cheerleaders. The mean girl decided I didn't belong anymore. So she took all my friends away and I lost friends at work, lost friends socially. So I'm in this dark place because I'm a kind, heart-centered person. I'm in this dark place. Nobody loves me. I am unlovable. I am not worthy. I struggled in that place. Yeah. The thing that got me out of bed every day and actually kept me alive was my kiddo. My kiddo is 26 now. He was 10 years old and I had to get him out of bed to feed him, get him off to school. And that's what got me out of bed. But there were days I wanted to stay in bed and crawl into, a fetal position all day long. And I did. Once I got him off to school, I would do that. That's how sad my life got. However, it was the best thing that could have ever happened, Lisa. Those two people did me the biggest favor by hating me and shaming me and humiliating me and making me a laughing stock and, like all of that. They forced me to do the inner work on myself so that I could rise out of this. When I hit my rock bottom, Lisa, I said to my higher power, because nothing worked at this point. Tony Robbins' teachings didn't work for me anymore. Landmark education didn't work. I was Catholic. The Catholic Church was great at one point, helping me out. But when I hit my rock bottom, I said, give me a way out of this hell. That's not drugs. That's not therapy. No disrespect to anybody taking drugs and therapy. Because when I was a new mom, I had to do 2 years of therapy to get over my mommy issues. I didn't want to wait 2 more years to feel better. And my dad lived out of alignment. Because he was an incredible artist, he never got fully self-expressed. He got bullied in his 50s, Lisa. He had a nervous breakdown. He had to go on meds for the rest of his life. I knew my story was not going to end like my dad's. Plus, I was a drug rep. I knew what drugs did to our body. So I asked for a fast and natural way to get me out of my mental health hell, or for a way of killing myself. That was my moment of surrender. That was my rock bottom, that people can relate to moments of surrender where then all of a sudden things get better because they've totally surrendered all, right? Like Oprah talks about, when she hit that moment, she started singing, I surrender all, I surrender all. Oh my God, my Lord and Savior, I surrender all. I think I said the words wrong, but it's like she sang that at her rock bottom and that's when everything got better. The same thing happened for me. I hit my rock bottom and I asked for a way out. And that way not only got me out of my darkness naturally, it made my marriage, it went from hell on wheels to heaven on earth. Because now I'm no longer operating from my ego. I'm operating from my soul. And my husband and I went from 2 egos battling it out to 2 souls completely aligned. And we just celebrated 32 years and it truly is heaven on earth because we both live in alignment. And that is what I recommend. If people are struggling, there's another way out other than going to therapy. There is different modalities. And this modality came through me. It was new and it saved my life, saved my sanity. And I was told, Elvira, it's not just for you. It's for you to share with the world.
And what was it? What did you do?
The Love Your Vibe Miracle Mindset. It came through me. I started practicing the teachings and tools that were gifted to me divinely. Lisa, my mental health got better and it's never gone back to that dark place ever again. And it's been over 11 years now. And so I put it into practice and said, okay, well, now that I'm living authentically, what is it I really, really want to do? I always wanted to be a jazz singer or a singer, a performer. And all of a sudden, that's what I manifested, and it was about getting out of my ego and going from soul, operating and singing from soul, not worried about what I sounded like and what others thought, just doing my thing humbly, yet fiercely, and not caring what anybody thought. And you know what? That not worried about what anybody else thought, I call it the I don't give a fuck attitude, but not from a place of ego, from a place of, hey, this is me. I got a song to sing. Remember Happy Feet, that movie?
Yeah.
Everybody has a song. I have a song to sing. You know, think about someone like William Hung in American Idol, right? This guy, he had so much joy for singing. People didn't care that he was singing off key, right?
Right.
She bang, right? They didn't care. They saw somebody living in joy, right? And
That's
as
it.
performers, this is what we can do, Lisa. Like, honestly, you're onto this. You know what it's about. I'm onto it. If more artists were to get into alignment with who they truly are and operating from a place of humble service, as opposed to making up for something, a lot of people that are artists are based, that's an ego mask for them, because they want to be loved. They want to be considered important, respected, right? I see it all the time in the jazz world. God bless those jazz singers. I'm a unicorn in the jazz world because I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about me. They're worried about what everyone thinks. They got these little cliques and they all hang out together. God bless them. They're lovely people, but I'm not part of the clique and I don't give a shit to be part of the clique. I'm doing it my own way. And you know what? It's good enough for me. And the people that see me, they see real. They don't see perfect on stage. They see real. But the best thing is that now I'm a sound healer. I help people heal with sound. I play sound bowls. I'm actually going to move so you can see my little setup there. I don't know if you can see that. That is, whoops. Can you see my little sound bowl?
Oh yes,
back
I
there?
see it. But
Yeah. That's my little sound bowl setup. That brings me more joy than singing on a jazz stage, helping people heal with sound.
I love sound bowls. So I went to a conference in 2019 that I was speaking at. And one of my she's now a dear friend. I'd met her at that conference, and we built a course for her using singing bowls, and she does meditation and music healing. Anyway, long story short,
I'm doing a vinyl album actually right now, sound healing. Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Okay. So where I'm going with the power of this is in 2019, or 2018. It was 3 years ago, actually. Is that 3 years ago? Anyway.
Okay.
I was a little bit of a hot mess then, in the sense that I couldn't meditate. Like I couldn't calm my crazy brain. And there were people doing all sorts of guided visualizations at this thing. And when it was done, everyone was talking about these visions that they saw and the, tangible goosebumps that they felt. And they were at the ocean and they felt the breeze. And I was like, I got nothing. Like I got nothing because I just couldn't. So I'm like, what the hell's wrong with me? Right.
Yeah.
Then my friend comes up and she's like, you know what? I'm just going to do a sound bowl thing. Yeah. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to think anything. You don't have to be anything. You just get to sit and like receive. Yeah. And that was my first taste of feeling something. Oh my God. Calming down. Yes. Like the doer in me was like, okay, I got to visualize now. Like I got to do it right. And I got to I got out of my
ego.
Subconscious. I got into my ego wanting to please and do it perfect and do it right. That sound healing was able to help me strip all that ego away. And that was actually sound healing is where I started my meditation. Now I can meditate for 30 minutes and sit completely still. Amazing. And, but sound healing is actually where I started. So I love that you brought that up because I offer that gift to anyone who's listening now. That's been like, I can't meditate. I can't shut my brain off. Well, we're not supposed to shut our brain off. That would mean we were dead if we shut our brain off, right? We're supposed to have thoughts. But listening to sound healing and that was the first step for me to strip away the ego, get into alignment, and really there's so much wisdom when you can sit with yourself, right? So I love that you're doing sound healing. Oh my God, such a gift. That's just such
Lisa,
a gift.
You oh my God, what you just said there right now is everything to me, because I believe that the sound healing helped you bypass your ego and go to your soul, where you're able to be still and just stop the monkey mind, right? That had to do it perfect and right and all of that crap, right? You just went to that place where you were present. Am I correct?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And that's what people tell me. They say, Elvira, I don't meditate well, but when I do one of your sound baths, my mind is not moving around. So yeah, what you've
That's
confirmed it. But it's funny, I don't really promote it that way, but it's amazing. I actually work with a hospice center, and these are people that are, either dying or they're grieving someone that's either died or dying. So they belong to this, they go to these events, and I actually do sound baths for these people. And they're like, I can't sleep, but after your sound bath, I slept like a baby, right? And you got me to shut down my mind. And I'm like, wow, how cool is that? So I know that I'm not doing anything. I'm literally a channel, and spirit uses me and gives me the words, gives me the sounds. I use my voice, I use my instruments, play them all intuitively. And at the end, it's like, oh my God, that even felt good for me. Right.
Yeah.
So it's actually selfish, but honestly, this is what I believe I was meant to be an artist for, to be a singer, so that I would be comfortable being a sound healer. I'm sensing there might be a sound healer in you one day, sister. I'm just going to put that out there. But you never know. You never know. If it helped you, you can use it to help others. Right. So yeah, this is such a brilliant conversation. I could talk to you all freaking day. This is so beautiful.
I know. And that which leads us to, my goodness, we're at our last question. Oh my gosh, time flies when you're having fun.
Yes.
We talked about the ego mask and how you said, when you're jazz singing and you're with everyone else that's, worried. It's the same for me in the solo theater community. And I think I relate it back to my mentor, Bo Eason, now at the time. And he always talks about Tom Brady. So anybody listening that loves NFL and football, Tom Brady's the oldest quarterback in the NFL. And, Bo's always like, you don't see, do you see Tom Brady on commercials? Not really. Do you see him on sneaker things and movie deals? And no, like, he's playing the game. Like that is his craft. Like he's not doing it to get, sometimes I think we do solo theater because they want to star in a big movie, or they want to get a thing, or people do jazz because they want to be world renowned and fit into this thing. And again, it's like chasing those external things instead of just doing the thing. Like Tom Brady's out playing football. He's out practicing. He's not worried about all the deals that come with that. He's doing the thing, right? I'm doing my solo show to fully express myself and give a gift to the world. I'm doing my thing. You're doing the same with your jazz and your sound healing. And we've taken off that ego mask because we're going to make ourselves better. We're going to do the best that we can do and not worry about what the external world tells us.
Yes.
And I think as creators, whether that's music, whether that's theater, whether that's business, whether that's, whatever you're writing a book or whatever you're doing, it's important to remember that you stay true to who you are, and that you're not saying it the way you think people are going to like it. You're not singing it the way people think that you're going to like it. Right. Yeah. And how do we, I guess that's my last question, is how do we stay authentic and true? Is there a guiding question? Is there a thought that you have? Is there something you say to yourself before you go and take the microphone and sing jazz and perform? Like, how do you get in that space?
That's a great question. Thank you. Basically my little prayer before I go on stage is, dear creator, allow me to share with this audience what they need to hear for their highest good. Your will, not mine, be done. And that's it. I let it go. Right? I let go, and I let God or universe, spirit, source, whatever you believe in. You need to know that your creator, the person, the entity that created you, it's not really a person, is it? God, spirit, source, universe, whatever you believe, created the planet and created everyone on it. You need to realize that creator brought you here for a purpose uniquely your own. And it's not about you. It's about how you get to serve the world. So get yourself out of your own effing way, fear and ego. Not good enough is fear. Ego is I'm all that in a bag of chips. Get out of that thinking, get into alignment with who you truly are. And I teach people how to do that. Right. And I have facilitators that teach this globally, right? My system, the Love Your Vibe transformation, I was told wasn't just for me. It was to share with the world. It's now being shared with the world. Right. So we have a way for you to stay out of your ego, live in your soul, and live aligned, authentic, fully self-expressed. Because when you're living aligned with your higher self, your higher power, which is really one, okay? Your higher self is your higher power. If you want to go talk about that deeper, we can talk later another time. But it's really about living in alignment in that space where it's flow, it's juicy, it's easy. When you were doing your table reading, you were in flow, you were aligned and authentic, and you were fully self-expressed. But people want to see that. People want to see real. People want to see people that are aligned. They don't want to see people that are perfect on the outside. Maybe they studied at, Humber for jazz and they're perfect, but they don't have soul. They're not connected to their higher self, their higher power that brought them here to serve as an artist. They're so busy trying to please everyone, right?
Yeah.
And that's a shit show, right? So to play your best show is just to stay in alignment with your higher self, who is connected to your higher power. You're all one, right? We're all one. This is what I believe. So does that make any sense, Lisa?
Yeah, it makes complete sense to me. And I hope that, and I think if it doesn't, then I encourage the listener to go back, go to sound healing, go in meditation, give yourself that gift. Maybe you like to walk. Maybe you want to walk with no headphone. I know I started that way too, with no headphones, no external distractions. Walk and just be, as you said, we're all connected. It's all connected.
We're human beings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And allow yourself that gift to align and let those messages and those things come to you.
Yes.
Because I agree. When everyone is taking off that ego mask, seeing others, allowing themselves to be seen, showing up fully expressed in the world, using that pause, asking, is this who I truly am? How would my highest self respond? What a kinder, gentler, juicy, exciting world we would live in, right?
Amen. Heaven on earth, I call it. Heaven on earth. This is what I'm here to help co-create.
And I was going to say, I love exactly. And you've got your Love Your Vibe community. You've got your system. I will make sure that I put all that information into the show notes, your website, your social handles. I'll make sure I put all of that. So if people want to know more about you, about your system, how they can get into your tribe so that they can be more aligned and expressed. That is the wish that I have for everyone in this world. Because man, doesn't it feel, it does. I'm the same. I remember what it felt like before. And I remember I saw a quote that said like, oh, sister, look back. We're not supposed to look back, but oh man, would your past self be so proud of who you are today? Right. And that like hit me. And I thought, oh man, like, right. Like, wow, would 11-year-old Lisa or 20-year-old Lisa or 25-year-old Lisa, she would be so proud of almost 40-year-old Lisa. Like, and I think if we can, we're not supposed to look back, but if we can go back and realize all the work that we have done and to keep going, that's the most beautiful thing ever. So thank you for being here with me today and this gift to my audience. We love you and appreciate you.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you, Lisa. This was absolutely amazing. You're so gifted in so many ways. And I'm just so blessed to call you my friend. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Love you. Love you. And thank you, listeners. We love you too. We love you for being here. We know you're busy and you've got lots on the go. So thank you for taking this time with us. Go back and listen to this when those moments hit that you need some inspiration, you need some connection, you need to feel seen and heard, right? This podcast will do that for you. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you again next time on The Lisa Pizik Show.
You've been listening to The Lisa Pizik Show. Let's connect more at www.lisapizik.com.